I won't you, and I won't go too deeply into that right now. But I wanted to. We have an interesting presentation tonight, and the theme is Southern New Hampshire, which is where we have our Heart of New Hampshire bicycle tour. And here's just I'm going to start with just a few photos real quickly to talk about the trip, and then afterwards I won't delay too long because we'll launch into Luca's cooking demo. I wanted to just move my head for a second here because that little background it's called Hurricane Farm. And that is a farm very close to where I grew up in Keene. And it was a beautiful place that my friends lived there. And it was really one of the prettiest little farms in New Hampshire. So I like to point that out. And it's just a gorgeous place that I have such fond memories of it. And one of our rides goes right by it. So anyway, our Southern New Hampshire trip is in the southwest corner of New Hampshire, and we base ourselves out of Keene for 4 nights. And one of those nights we eat at Luca's Mediterranean Cafe, and we're all working together, Tiffany, Darren, myself, and Luca's team to bring some recognition to this wonderful little corner of New Hampshire. So I'm just gonna let's see, is he? Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Just some photographs of the area. Left-hand side is actually one of the vineyards that we go to, and that is in Westmoreland. And the middle photo is in downtown Keene. It's part of a mural project that was in 2019 called the Wall Dog Murals. And this is one of my favorites, although they're all quite stunning. So I love them all. And this is as we're riding out of town, this is on the left-hand side. And these murals are all within 1 mile radius of the town. And each one has a historical, very historical importance. Personalities of the town, historical moments of the town, or in this case, and there's a couple of cases in which important businesses of the town. And this one, the Trinity Bicycle Works, was one of the in the early 1900s, of course. Bicycle manufacturing was in high numbers compared to automobile manufacturing, and the Trinity Bicycle Works was one of those contributors to this boom of bicycling in the 1900s. It's no longer in business, but it was an important business in the area, and Keene itself is an important hub for a lot of businesses, actually. It's a manufacturing hub. It's been a cultural hub of Keene State College. It's been now, it's really become a cultural hub, which is why we have Luke here tonight, and the boom of restaurants and the foodie culture. And it's really quite a community. I encourage you to visit. The left-hand side, this picture here is the Stone Arch Bridge, which is right near Marlborough, which is right near Luca lives. And this bridge is one of the oldest and highest and finest examples of this kind of stone arch architecture in the country. And across the top was a railroad bridge, and now across the top is a rail trail. It's a hard rock rail trail, but nevertheless, it's a great one, and it goes out for several miles, and then it also goes into town. So we like to take a photograph here at the end of our ride. Anyway, but Ciclismo Classico, as you know, has trips all over the world. We started in Italy. That was where our sweet spot was, but we bring that template to wherever we go. The middle photograph is the Eroica, which is a beautiful vintage bike ride in October. The left-hand side picture is in Montalcino, and that's a beautiful vineyard that we go to. And then the right-hand side is actually one of the trip in Tuscany. We have trips now. We have trips close to home. We call them our close to home tours. Left-hand side is the Finger Lakes. We have a trip on Natchez Trace, and then of course our Southern New Hampshire trip. And it was quite an easy decision for me to pivot in this direction during COVID, since we have so many great destinations close to home. And the Southern Heart of New Hampshire trip, this is one of my favorite spots on the whole tour. This is in Harrisville. It's a lovely mill town, about 20 miles outside of Keene. And this is on the tail end of a loop ride that we do. And just real quickly, we have it's a 5-day, 4-night trip. Last day is we climb Mount Monadnock. We have trips there in June, July, September, October. We could do private departures if you like as well. All accommodations are included, all breakfast, 1 lunch and 3 dinners, van support, and 2 local expert guides. And it starts and ends in Keene. So you can drive here, you can get here by a shuttle via taking a plane, of course, from another destination. And you just leave your car, park your car, and then it's all about bicycling and walking from there on in. You bring your own bike if you like. If you want a rental, we have them as well. And if you need to fly, you fly out of and into Manchester, New Hampshire. And the cost is listed, and there's a single supplement. And then we have these virtual tours, these virtual shows every week. Next week is the Finger Lakes, the Mediterranean island hopping. Then we're going to do Quebec, Bella Sicilia, and the Hudson Valley. Okay, so I think that's it. Luca, would you like to begin? Present yourself. I'll just introduce you. I mean, Luca, I don't know. All I know about you pretty much is that you're the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Keene, but more importantly, you are a chef. You're Italian, and you're quite a character and quite beloved in Keene, as I know. So that's my basic introduction. But you can talk a little bit more about your voyage to Keene and what you're doing there.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to New Hampshire. Welcome to the area of the world that I like to think of as the perfect place that has not been found, but can be found by you. And I just made that up. I didn't really know where I was going to go with that. But guys, thank you for being here. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Luca Paris. I've been in the restaurant business since I've been 14 years old. I've owned places in New York and now in Keene. My first endeavor was called Gianluca Salumeria in New York, in the Bronx, on Morris Park Avenue in the Bronx, if anyone's from that area. From that, I became part of Pane e Vino in Westchester, and I opened up a place called Cucina Luca. Apparently, I like my name a lot because it ends up in a lot of my titles. And I know that that's not posh anymore, but it's still part of who I am. We moved to New Hampshire in 2022. Are we still there? What's going on? I'm missing stuff here. Take a health and wellness. So, we worked here since. Are we still there? Everyone's still there?
You are still here, Luca. Yep. You are still here.
Okay, yep. Perfect. Sorry about that. We started Luca's Mediterranean Cafe in 2000. My wife's from Swansea, and I'm just going to give you a little background of why I got up here from New York. I was born in Italy. Grew up in the Bronx, lived in Westchester County, and we found our way up here by way of meeting my wife at Johnson & Wales in the late 80s. And we got married in New York. We got married in Keene, but lived in New York for all of the 90s. And one day, after visiting so many times and falling in love with the region, I said, hey, why don't we start a restaurant and fulfill the goals that I've always wanted to have and have my own little place. And it happened here in Keene, New Hampshire. So Luca's Mediterranean Cafe, if you look it up, it's been around for 22 years now. I am the chef owner and now the chef founder is my new title, executive chef, cook, consigliere, and founder. And I've been doing this cooking demos and cooking for people for a long, long time. Some of you might have seen me, and if you have, that's great. I love to mention it. I was on Guys Grocery Games in the one of the season 1 episodes. I won. That's the only reason why I tell you I was on that show, because winning was pretty cool, and it was one of my fun moments. And I've been doing demos all across the country at one time or another. And lately, I kind of retired from cooking, and the ladies have brought me out of it to do this for you today, because I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I believe in promoting our region, talking about how great it is to be here, whether it's living or visiting. And I really, really hope you get a chance to visit the area. I'm going to show you some of the food we make at Luca's, but I want to tell you, it's not just there that I would promote. When you go around an area, whether you're biking or traveling in any way, I know food scene is very important. And the food scene in the Monadnock region is pretty interesting and exciting and eclectic for such a small area, or a forgotten area in some ways. So that way, when you get here, you could have amazing food at Yasso, which is a quick service kind of place, or it's going to the counter and ordering and sitting down, but the flair and the finesse that they make their food is absolutely incredible. You have some incredible restaurants like the ones that are going to be shared during the trip. Machina Arts, Chef Jordan Scott is a great friend of mine, and he makes some incredible eclectic dishes. Their menu right now is Japanese, and it varies every month in a different country, in a different field. And he's one of the most innovative and exciting young chefs I've ever met. Granita Restaurant, I don't know if that's on your list, but another one of those high-end, incredible wine menu and fine dining restaurants. But it's not just about fine dining and sitting down at tables, and it's about finding those incredible burger places. It's about the 8 breweries in the region. It's about so many wonderful places. So I'm just gonna give you a little taste. I'm drinking a little wine along the way. I just started, so if it looks like I'm drinking a lot of wine, that's just me naturally. And we're gonna start by making one of my favorite dishes on the menu, which is a pomegranate and local honey glazed Brussels sprout. I'm using a little North Country bacon to start that off. North Country Smokehouse is a smokehouse here in New Hampshire. The amount of local foods that are done in the area are incredible. You see this wonderful blend. It's wonderful. My wife's in the background telling me what I'm doing. I guess she's watching. So in the background, I mean, local foods really takes over, from produce that's grown, it's seasonal, to raising our own livestock. And pigs are big in the area, cattle, milk products. We have some great farms. So what I'm doing basically right now is taking my North Country Smokehouse bacon, rendering it down with my pre-cooked, pre-roasted Brussels sprouts, a little salt and pepper to go in there as well. Yeah, I'm going to show you something that's really easy at home too. I know a lot of people, that Brussels sprout craze has been happening the last couple of years. And I know everyone's thinking, well, how could I make Brussels sprouts taste even better? Balsamic vinegar is a great thing for it. You want to get something kind of sweet to go with the earthiness of the Brussels sprouts, but we're also adding some fatty depth with the bacon, right? And we're going to just let those cook up and cook down a little bit. And then what I did is doesn't everybody have one of these at home? I did a pomegranate, and it was the palm juice that you just buy with the equal parts honey, equal parts pomegranate. I sold this from the restaurant, so I didn't have to make it up. I just put it in there so that way it can start to coat and glaze the Brussels sprouts. A really easy dish. While that's working and cooking down, let's jump to another one. Is that all right? See, I can't see any of you. So unless I get thumbs up or something, I'm kind of lost here. But so yeah, I'll only put 4 of you on screen. So the 4 people that are on screen, you don't know who you are. So all of you act really animated, like wave your hands. Really? One hand out of all that? All right. That's okay. There you go. That's a little bit better. We're getting there. So we're going to let that cook down. Now, part of this cooking this down, you've roasted them ahead of time. So you can use it. Thank you. So you can use this. And then as it cooks down, the sugars kind of like connect. And as the moisture evaporates, so the liquid evaporates, it starts glazing those Brussels sprouts. Absolutely amazing. Here is another dish I love, and it's something that I do. Just so you know, here's a little tidbit. I just moved here. I haven't used the stove very often. If we were in my restaurant, I'd have all 5, 6 burners going at once, flipping things around. This one's not quite as easy as I thought. In this pan, in a nonstick pan, I'm going to put some unsalted butter, because what I'm going to take is some roasted mushrooms and some polenta that I pre-made and cut into a little triangle and do polenta, fontina, and mushrooms together, which is absolutely incredible. This area is really known for its mushrooms. So depending on the season, we could get everything from even porcini mushrooms, fresh porcinis I get sometimes, and I serve them over steak. On my menu, I do a roasted blend of shiitake, portobello, cremini, and oyster mushrooms because they're more available. And we can get shiitake on a regular basis locally. But we have some really amazing foragers in the area. And I don't know if that's ever part of a trip that you do, but that's an experience in and of itself if you haven't done that. So we got some butter going in here. I come from Torino, Italy. I was born in Torino, and we're known as polentones, right? We live for polenta. And most of the time in my life, polenta was served loose, and we put some salsicha on it or some conillo rabbit stew. But this time, because in the restaurant I serve it this way, we make our polenta and we solidify it. But to bring it back to life, I put some butter in a pan and we start cooking that down. But let me just show you this. And Lauren or Tiffany, if I go over on time or I get lost or you guys get bored, you just tell me to stop, okay? You mute
So
me and say, hey,
Luca, polenta, so can you just say in the region, because polenta is a very specific, very regionally specific, because they really don't eat polenta in all over Italy. So I know in Umbria and Le Marche, but what other region? I think in Piedmont, right?
Yeah, Piemonte, again, Torino is where I was born. Grew up with my family making polenta very often. The story is, it's the first thing I ever made in my life as a with my culinary prowess. You know, there's some chefs that'll get on and start telling you, you know, when I was young, I would cook with my grandmother, or I would do this. I only cooked one thing with my grandmother. It's because she had to make me stop from eating everything. As you can tell, I love to eat. And as a child, I'd be the one in the kitchen that starts dipping into the, you know, the conillo, the rabbit, or I grab the sausage and all that. And that's where I would be. And one day she goes, Luca, I'm going to teach you how to cook. And I said, oh, Grandma, thank you so much. She said, beautiful. So she said, okay, I want you to go, polenta is made with water or stock and some seasoning and however you want to make it. But we just made it simple. It was the water, and then you pour the polenta in, you keep stirring. And it was the not the fine grain, it was a little bit coarser. So it took about 45 minutes. So I would get on my stool and I would do this and I pour, and she would teach me how to pour. And she said, do it correctly. And I was there for 45 minutes thinking she was teaching me how to cook. She just told me that she found a way to stop me for 45 minutes, which no other person in the world was able to do to that point, because I was that crazy, rambunctious kid. So it's always been a lot of fun. And when I make polenta, I love telling that story or just thinking about it. On the polenta here, I'm going to put a little fontina cheese. But what I'm doing with that, because what I'm going to do is put that on the side right now. There we go. Put that down just a little bit. And in that same pan where I have the fontina and the polenta cooking down, I'm going to put some of my roasted mushrooms. And think about this, if you're home, you pre-roast your mushrooms. Now, why do I pre-roast my mushrooms? It's because when you cook them and you just saute them like that, you know, mushrooms absorb a lot of water, and they'll absorb everything around them, and they have a lot of moisture. So that's getting released in the pan. By roasting them, I'm not only letting go of some of that liquid that's in them, and I roast them so that way the liquid is drained off. But when I cook them again, they have some deep richness that they wouldn't have had any other way. Every time I make something, I love to season it as I go. These are really exciting and simple items to make at home. You'll find this on our menu too. I take a little bit of fresh sage that I just chopped up. I take a little bit of Madeira wine. I just add that to my pan. And we cook that down. We let those mushrooms heat up. So 2 simple dishes so far. Are you guys still with me? Not bored?
Here.
You want to see more? You still hungry? Did you see the Brussels sprouts?
I didn't see where you. So are you roasting the mushrooms in the oven? I didn't see that.
Well, no, I roasted them before. If I was roasting them, I don't have enough time.
Right.
So there we go. So we got the mushrooms in the pan near the polenta, and while the polenta is still in there and getting softer, the mushrooms are next to it. That Madeira, that sage, there's still a little bit of that butter in there, and all these flavors are coming together. So what I'm going to do is take out my polenta. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. In my little cazuela, my terracotta bowl. And then I'll put my mushrooms a little bit. And we've got these great flavors. It's really easy to make and simple, yet flavorful. I think you could all attest, if you've been to Italy or to some great restaurants, sometimes the simplest preparations with great ingredients go so much farther than trying to be complicated and over the top. Those are easy to make at home. And if you want to come to New Hampshire and visit me, I'll make them for you. You don't even have to do that. And when you're biking, you do the work there. I'll take care of you when you're sitting down.
The Brussels sprouts. Whenever we've been to your place, we always order the Brussels sprouts as a
good thing.
I will have to.
Now, what's really cool is, let me tell you a little bit. When I opened it in 2000, One of the things that 20 years ago, there weren't a lot of restaurants in the area and there wasn't very much variety. So when I came from New York and I said I was going to open up an Italian restaurant, I was planning on making it Luca's Trattoria, or Luca's, I don't know what I was going to call it. I was just going to call it something Italian. So, and when I got here, there was already Nicola's Trattoria, which was amazing. I went to eat there. It was phenomenal. And I was like, uh-oh. It's not like Manhattan or Boston where you could have two exactly the same restaurants in the same block and still do well. This was an area where you can't do that. And I was new to it and I didn't know how it would fly. So luckily I went over to a friend's house to eat one night and they cooked us from this Mediterranean cookbook and a light bulb went off in my head. I could still do the flavors of Italy, France, and Spain and reach out to Greece, do Morocco, do some of the eastern part of the Mediterranean that people might not know, some Syrian dishes. We've done everything from Croatian dishes there and you name it, just as long as they're simple, they're delicious, and they feel comfortable. Those are the dishes I go for. And what was fun about that, it now expanded my culinary range, right? So now if you come down, this year especially, we have an incredible seafood paella from Valencia, paella, that is absolutely amazing. Shrimp, chicken thighs, mussels, clams, the saffron rice on the bottom, roasted peppers, peas. I mean, it's incredible. And it's not just an Italian restaurant. It's funny that I picked mostly Italian dishes. I was going to make you a paella tonight, but I was more in the mood for a simple bolognese.
So Luca, what ingredients are you finding in your area particularly great, for your restaurant?
When you're talking about local, the produce is ridiculously awesome. Are you talking local or are you talking about
I was just saying, like, how are you how are you integrating, how is Italy coming to you via the foods available?
Just like anything, the world has gotten smaller. When I moved here originally, one of the funniest things was, so I mentioned I had a salumeria in New York, and a salumeria is basically a place that sells sausage, and it was our Italian version of a deli. We did cold cuts, but I also made my homemade mozzarella. And I could get curd and make mozzarella every day. When I first moved here, I couldn't get that. I couldn't get any good dry sausage. I couldn't get any soprastata. I couldn't get any prosciutto that wasn't a quality that you would normally find in a rural supermarket somewhere out west. But the world has gotten so much closer that if I can't find something locally, I could go and source it and have it sent to me. But now all of my producers can get me anything Italian, Spanish, French, Greek, Syrian, Lebanese. I mean, you name it, we can get it. And we try to make our menu inclusive in the regions of the Mediterranean, but at the same time, make it so that way, if you came in with someone who wasn't adventurous, there was something simple on the menu from them and something that they would feel very comfortable with, whether it be a ribeye steak or chicken francese or a linguine with the mushrooms I just made. It's just simple, wonderful food prepared correctly. Now, this dish I'm going to make you is one of my favorites. And for us to produce it at the restaurant, you're actually watching how I produce an item at the restaurant as we go. Because instead of going through the whole process of making a bolognese, which would take us hours, because as I reduce this, I'll tell you about it. But when you make the meat to make a bolognese, and if you can find these recipes online, this is a pork, veal, and beef blend ground. And then what I do is I cook it down in a pan, and we use a really big one, but I cook that down in a pan. And as I'm cooking it down, we render out the fat and we get rid of it, put it back in, add a bunch of red wine, an Ariosto spice blend that I make myself, which is 15 different herbs and spices. I get that in there and we cook out the red wine. Then I add canned tomatoes, filetto di pomodoro, and I let that cook down. And with onions and celery, I forgot about sweating those down too. So let me go back. Okay, do you have a rewind button on this thing? Where is it? Okay, don't worry about that. So celery and onions, we bring it back. We cook down the beef and the pork and the veal. And we make this beautiful bolognese right here. But this is just the base, right? This is the beginning of what we're doing. So we have so much flavor in there. When I bring it to the restaurant, or when I'm at the restaurant, you order it, we start it in a pan. We just let it go naturally. We take some of our homemade marinara sauce. I don't know about you. I can tell you my recipe is it's extremely simple. It's onions, celery, parsley, garlic, pomodoro, filetto di pomodoro, cooked down, and then puree. Salt and pepper, of course, but there's no carrots in my recipe. There is no other ingredients than that. This is the base flavors of everything we need. And it comes out delicious, and it's fresh, and it's vibrant. I know everybody has their own flavors for their filetto, or their marinara. Well, that's mine. So now we're bringing this bolognese to life. It's not something that I just scoop out of a barrel pre-cooked. We need it to have different nuances, right? So, but it's so flavorful right now. And then again, we season as we go. Even though there was seasoning in there, somehow salt disappears. Unless you put too much, then it doesn't go away. But it just needs just a little bit more pot. And then I finish it with a touch of cream. Now, if you notice, there are no carrots anywhere in my bolognese. And if you go to different regions of Italy, they do it differently. This is my mom's recipe. So you might not like it if you come there, but I know you will because it's delicious. But you can't tell me, because then my mom will get so upset. You don't want that to happen. I don't care if you don't like what I make, but her recipes you have to love, I grew up on it and I absolutely love it. And then we're just bringing, check this out. This is so cool, is how simple it is. So, when you make a nice bolognese sauce with a touch of cream and it just comes down together nicely, right? Oh, wait. What am I going to do? I pre-made my pasta. I don't usually do that. I put it in there. Wow, it's kind of formed to the container. Look at that. But we're going to put my cavatappi in there, break that up. Hey, so a little trick if you're at home and you're cooking. First of all, don't do that because your wife gets mad at you when you get it all over the place. Second of all, you never just put sauce. You never put the pasta in the bowl and sauce over the pasta. Again, it's a mom thing. You always toss your pasta in the sauce. Let the nooks and crannies and the rigate and the lines just take over the sauce. Oh my gosh, you guys see this, guys. This is so good. I think I should stop here because I have another dish, but I think that's up to you if you tell me you want me to make more. But that's see, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Are you guys hungry yet? Is anyone hungry? Is anyone still there? Did you all leave me? Okay, you're still there. But this is, it's delicious. It's just like absolute perfection to me. And I grew up eating like this and loving food. And it's just absolutely wonderful. Do I have time for one more dish?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Any questions? If there's questions, I don't have my glasses on. So
Well,
Lauren,
why don't we,
what
what is the favorite, what are the top 3 dishes at your restaurant that the most popular?
Whatever I'm in the mood for that night.
Okay. No, but I mean,
you know what's funny?
Of all the years you've been in business, like what are the the go-to?
So I think the best way to eat. So to answer that, I'll switch it around and say, what's the best way to eat there? So what's great about the experience at Luca's, the pastas are phenomenal. The bolognese is one of my biggest sellers. We now on the menu just added a linguine with clam sauce, which I was super excited about for the spring and summer. Already in the first 2 nights, it's going crazy. People are going nuts for it. And any of the pastas are a great way. If you just want that comfort food, and especially if you're doing a lot of traveling the way you guys do, pasta, when I eat pasta, it stays there because I don't bike as much. But when you eat pasta, it's gone the next day. So it's some great place to have. But the entrees are really exciting. The paella is a big favorite. Our lamb tagine that we served for years, it's taking a break on the menu right now. It needed a little vacation because it was working too hard. I took it off, but when we serve it, the tagine flavors are so distinct and different because it's from North Africa and Morocco. Those flavors just like they pop and they feel. If you came in thinking you were getting a bolognese and you order a lamb tagine, your brain's all messed up. But if you came in for an experience, that's always been one of the favorites. This is one of my new favorites on the menu. I actually picked 4 things that I know people would love. This is one of my new favorites on the menu. It's a pork valdostana. Basically, I did the breading process for a pork cutlet, pounded out thin from the pork loin. Isn't that pretty? And then in a shallow pan, I shallow fry it. We don't have fryolators at Luca's, so if you came in looking for fries, I don't have it. I know where to get the best fries in town, though. and I can tell you where that is. So we're gonna, I wonder how this is gonna work out here. All right, I might put too little and maybe not made it hot enough. Oh, a little trick, make sure you make your pan hot enough when you're frying something in it.
Yeah.
So, so I'm gonna do a little salt and pepper, and we're gonna fry this, and we're gonna cook it that way. But while we're doing that, when I said I know some of the best places in town to get stuff, I really do. I mean, what's great about the Monadnock region, again, it's not a one-trick pony. It's not all pizzerias. It's not all Italian food. It's not anything like that. It's just so many incredible. Now we have this incredible iteration of young chefs coming to the area and young entrepreneurs who say, I want to be the next, Nicola. And hopefully maybe some of them say, I want to do what Luca did for 22 years, start a business in my 30s and then create this incredible legacy that lasts forever. That's what's happening. I mentioned Jordan Scott. There's Harris up in Peterborough who has Bantam Grill, makes some great food. And Pearl Restaurant, which is this Asian infusion restaurant that will rival anything in New York and Boston any day of the week. I mentioned burgers. I'm a big burger fan. So some people follow what I do on the Great Burger Quest on YouTube, where I go around and I try to find the best burgers. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is see what's out there burger wise. Now, what I did is I fried the cutlets in the pan. I just realized I was looking for my other pan, and it's in here, and it's way too hot now. All right. I thought I lost the pan. Don't tell anybody. I just thought I lost the pan. Well, I have my 2 cutlets frying, right? So, wait, I don't want the oil to tip on the floor. I'll get yelled at. And then with that, I have prosciutto cotto, which is basically ham, and fontina cheese. So I'm just layering them out. I'm laying the fontina down, and then the prosciutto cotto. And I'll show you what that's going to look like. And I'm going to put one piece of cutlet on the other. Now, a pork valdostana, a veal valdostana, traditionally, it's a dish that is served in a chop. Think of a pork chop or a veal chop, open up and it's stuffed. Not always breaded, sometimes seared. But what's great about food when you get to play and do this the way you want over the years is that you can do your take on it, right? So whether you're doing it at home or not, my breading too is half and half. It's half cheese, half Parmigiano, half panko breadcrumbs, pulsed together with parsley and lemon zest, because I want some big flavors to come out of the breading. Because just a simple breading with dry herbs to me never had a lot of flavor. So this is why I went that way. So while that's cooking, we're doing okay, guys?
Yep.
Everybody all right? Yeah? Having fun? Because I'm having a blast. Guess what? I get to eat all this. I'm sorry you don't. But when they invent Zoom Dash,
I know,
I'll bring
right?
it to you. Yeah. So in here, now let's see how hot this pan is. Yeah, it looks pretty hot. This is going to be the sauce for the pork valdostana, right? So in here, I got some caramelized onions, right? And where are we going to go? Oh, should we add some bacon? No, that's not on the menu. Don't do it, Luca. I tend to do stuff like that. I'm going to add a little bit of our marinara sauce, a touch of red wine that I was drinking with, and I think you all know. Not to use wine you wouldn't drink to cook with, right? So we do a little red wine to deglaze the pan. We're going to add some salt and pepper and a touch of cream. When I talk about my sauces being simple, this kind of reduction sauce in the pan. So if I'm at the restaurant, usually I've cooked down the pork to the point where we took it out of the pan and then deglaze what's left in that pan. Now I'm using it down below. But this kind of simple caramelized onion and tomato and wine and touch of cream sauce just will balance out all the flavors that are in the pork. And while that's cooking up, let me think of a couple of other places. You guys bike when you bike through. I think you bike through Hancock. The Hancock Inn is a beautiful place to see. And what's also great is if you can't eat everywhere, there's a lot of places to stop and buy stuff that you could use later, whether it be, small local country stores, places that you're just gonna walk in and go, wow, I can't believe this is here. Or you find vinegars and oils and local products from everywhere around. And then I didn't even touch on the breweries. We have about 8 breweries in the region. A lot of them are kind of held in the Monadnock region, I mean, in the Keene area. And there's a great one in Peterborough and one out in Winchester. But the breweries around here have been a real big hit. And I know some of the regions around the country, they do that too. But in the last 5 years, we've had an explosion of them, and they're growing every week. So there might be a new one more by the time you guys come down. But it's really incredible. The food scene 20 years ago was nice.
The food scene
22
30
years
years ago, the food scene 30 years ago was not
was
existing.
rough. So, and then now it's, like I said, I want to say eclectic, energized, fun. I'm just really excited just to be part of it. And now, as I'm the some people either call me the grandfather in the area, or I would say the godfather, hopefully not the grandfather, because I'm not there yet. But I like to think that helping the region grow food-wise was part of what we did. And showcasing what we do around this area has been exciting. So I welcome any questions or any thoughts. If you had any thoughts.
I was going to ask if you could, as a Chamber of Commerce, I mean, could you give the perspective of your vision for the next couple of years? Like what are you envisioning in terms of, businesses and I'll give you an example here. I live in Arlington, Mass. And what I find frustrating is I find that the balance of businesses is off balance, right? So what I like about when I go to Keene now, it is very easy for a community to not have balance in its offerings. And I do like, the way Keene has grown. I love the balance of what you have. So I'm just curious what you're thinking, what you all talk about in your meetings, and what you're looking for businesses, and what are some of the new emerging businesses that you're really excited about. So I guess wanted to hear from your kind of your,
I think what's exciting about this area is it's growing organically, and it's growing for the people that like coming here. Nobody starts a business thinking, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I don't care if anybody else wants it, right? There's a need for this farm to table. There's a need for these local producers to be showcased. There's a need for just for another level of cuisine to the area. And that's just food, but it's happening everywhere where it's just when you get here and you see all these small little places opening up downtown, I call it eclectic because I like the way it feels. And there's in an area that's not known for diversity, our palate is diverse. So I don't know if that makes any sense there, but there is a balance too. And there's a balance in how we grow as a community. We're growing, new people are finding us, and we'll talk. I mean, we're not going to talk about economic development and stuff like that, because I could get into those conversations too, but I will, in the sense that people are leaving areas like New York, like Boston, like other parts of the country, and they're finding small niche areas like ours. And it doesn't matter where it is, but that are magical in a lot of ways. And they're bringing their variety, their diversity, their new culture to the area. And we're seeing that happening all over the place and all over the region. So
how are you able to, what I mean is also guide it. So making sure that, like I said, in our area, I don't feel sometimes there's a lot of guidance that businesses kind of emerge. I'm like, why is there another beauty parlor? Why is there another pizza place, where I live? And I'm wondering, how does an area guide the direction of its business so you do have variety?
I don't think any area does that. You do it with your, I don't think that's I don't believe in trying to alter the market or the consumer or the feel of something. I think what's happening here is a renaissance of sorts of new and exciting things. When I first got here, it was a lot of the same old. It was a lot of
yes, I know.
pizzerias, and it was a lot of, and I feel a lot of attempts were made to do other things and force it, and that never worked. And now it's the energy of the area that is bringing some exciting people that want to live here. And we just want to invite you into our homes, and metaphorically, because my home's not big enough for all of you, but we want to invite you to our world and show you just how amazing it is. And I did that by visiting here and falling in love with the nature and the sereneness. And you know what? There's a tagline we're starting to we're working on a couple of things when it comes to branding. But one of the things that has come up a lot was that we're remote, but we're not removed from each other. And when you come to the Monadnock region, you'll find that you have this kind of air around you and this openness. But at any point in time, there's someone there with a friendly smile if you need them, or you want to say hi to someone, it's there. And not where they're in your face, and it's not too much. It's just right. And I'm excited to be part of it. I would love if some of you come with us and come to visit. Make sure you come by and say hello, and I'll make sure I'll be there as soon as everyone arrives and say hi and help you anywhere you want to go.
One question I had, and I maybe Tiffany or I'm not sure if Darren has the answer, but up at near Harrisville, there was this farm complex that I noticed on the, I'm not sure what they're doing, but it seems like they're doing it's like farm to fork farm. They're hosting people. I mean, do you know anything about these?
Are you talking about the Inn at East Hill Farm? Is that the one?
East Hill Farm's been there for a while, but there was another one that seems like they're taking the whole place and they're doing demos. I mean, it was like a very interesting one. Yeah, I mean, it's still emerging, but I would see this.
Oh, I want to see that. Tell me where. We'll figure it out, and I'll let everybody. I'll go there and try it out, because okay. I told you, only thing I like more than cooking is eating.
Okay, so what are some of the oldest? Okay, we talked about some of the new places in Keene, but what are some of the old businesses that have been there for a long time that are still going strong?
Are we talking about food places again?
Food place. I was thinking of one food place. I was thinking about the sweet shop, the candy store.
Life is Sweet?
Nope, there's the other one that's
oh my God, Ye Goody Shop.
Yes,
oh my gosh, shop. Yes. Oh, that is wonderful. I mean,
Ye Goody Shop is at least 30 or 40 years old.
Oh yeah, and it's had a couple of owners since then, but if you want to see candy making done from scratch, they have a window into their kitchen. And it's absolutely so cool to watch them, pull on the candy as it's hardening, but getting it to a certain texture, making drops. Yeah, that's an experience. Ye Goody Shop's on Main Street. As far as it's scary to say it, but I'm one of the oldest restaurants in town right now. There's the pub that's older than me, and the stage, which you're going to be going to. But there's a lot of, and I'm trying to think.
The only restaurant I was sad to have lost was the one that used to be in the Mexican place, which was the Thoreau's. That was the Thoreau's.
Oh, Henry David's.
Yeah, Henry David Thoreau. Yeah,
Henry David. Excuse me, Henry David's. That
was a
by
nice
Mo Mosier back in the day. I mean, there are a lot of in any community, you have a lot of this kind of history in restaurants. And as soon as I moved here, I started learning a lot about them. And there were, I say that we're more eclectic, more energized now than we ever been. But sometimes when I look back, I see some of these older places that were just nostalgic to a lot of people. And we actually did a version of the oldest Italian restaurant in Keene was in the 1950s, right after World War. Joe and Pete, what is their last name? Oh my gosh, Bob DiTullio.
Yes. Well, Lindy's Diner, of course, but that's like
Lindy's Diner. It's been known for a great place for presidents to come through, or wannabe presidents to come through as well.
During the campaign, because the presidential campaign always goes through Keene.
Always goes through Keene, and we pick the winner every year. We really don't believe that, because that doesn't happen. But there's a lot of great places. There's a history. There's the old time diners, true old time diners. Not ones that are refurbished and act like old time diners. These places haven't been remodeled. Well, Lindy's has just recently, but Timoleon's has it.
The one across the street from you, almost. That's Lindy's old owners, owned by the Chocolases.
Yeah. So it's incredible. You have everything around here. You have the niceties of small town America, but you have the energy of a city without feeling like you're stuck in a bigger city. That's Keene. And then you have these small, beautiful towns with the quintessential church and the town hall and the police station all wrapped up into one sometimes. And you have the steeples as you go through it. It's just it's a wonderful place to visit. You're almost going to want to live here when you get here. All I know is that's how I got here. And like I said at the beginning, I just want to invite you to come visit.
Well, great. Well, your restaurant is right in downtown Keene, has a beautiful view of the church, of the main church downtown. Oh, help me out for a second. I'm forgetting the name, but the main
Unitary
the main church, which was moved apparently. I did not know that, but
I didn't know that either.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you keep talking. I'm going to eat.
You're right next door to that, which is a beautiful view. And then of course near you is a stage restaurant. We go there on night 3, and then on night 2, we go to Machina. And then so all of the restaurants we go to are literally a 5-minute walk from our hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Buon appetito.
So I'm eating.
Great. Excellent. Good. Well, thank you, everybody. I don't want to keep everybody over time. I just want to make sure that any questions for me about or Tiffany or Darren about the itinerary, the Keene itinerary. We didn't go into too much detail about that, but as I mentioned, it's a 5-day trip. We have 3 delicious evenings of food. We have lots of great food stops along the way. Lots of like super snack stops. And the mileage varies between 35 and 45 miles. And we can always do something private or custom for you if you like. But anyway, you can read more about that. I think you all have seen the itinerary, but we'll be sending you a thank you note and a link to that itinerary. But happy to take any more questions. I guess last question would be, where's the best place to get a gelato in downtown Keene?
That's wow. Do you know it?
Pardon me?
Frisky Cow Gelato, I know, is really good.
Oh, right.
But I don't know where she's selling it right now. So we got to figure that out. I will find out.
She has a store over on Criff Road. So
it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off the beaten path, but it's a great way to go.
It's right on the bike path.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
It's great to know. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you.
I do have to tell you that the last time I was on and I got to listen to you guys and see what you were talking about, I've learned so much about the region. And I want to thank you both for doing that. I know you were teaching everybody else about the region, but your passion for where we are and the way you feel about Keene is similar to me, and me coming from somewhere else. I will tell you this, my dad had said to me when he visited me when I opened the restaurant that it reminded him the closest to Italy. And I know, Lauren, you have that conversation about someone.
Well, someone was cycling and just said he had been in Tuscany the previous year, and he said he was from Texas. He had a strong Texas accent. I won't imitate him, but it was really funny because he said, "Oh my God, this reminds me of Tuscany," and I'm like, that was like, I'm going to record that. It was then. No, I mean, it has.
There's a lot of that feel in this area.
I mean, it's obviously. Obviously, it's the closest I feel like in terms of a European vibe. The southern New England, this area has a great, kind of European vibe to it. I mean, yeah, of course, it's not Europe, but I mean, in terms of the way the whole region evolved, I mean, economically, a lot of small towns in Italy evolved very similarly the way that a lot of New England towns did, which were small micro businesses that kind of turned into, it didn't grow too much and usually supported the region. So I think that the Keene area is very unique in that way as well. But I just had a couple. I had one woman Carl asking about the mileage options. Yes, we have the days, or you can either do the long or short. On every single day, there's always a long or short ride. So for sure, it's a great area for that because you can do long rides, and then there are definitely short options. So any other questions from anybody? I'm going to put a link to the itinerary right now, so you can have that, and maybe after the show you can take a peek. But you can always email me at lauren@chiclesaclassico.com or tiffany@chiclesaclassico.com or darren@chiclesaclassico.com. Tiffany, did you want to add anything at all?
I just wish that I could be there to smell Luca's kitchen right now. And not have to do the dishes.
It would be cool if we could somehow arrange in the future, Luca, a live cooking demo. That would be kind of cool.
I'd be honored to. That's how I get my kicks cooking now. And I'm working with a couple of companies to do some cooking demos for them too. So
On
I'd
every
be happy to.
Chapuzzo Classical tour in Europe, we always have a cooking demo. As in part of our Chapuzzo menu, we call it our Chapuzzo menu. We have music. At least one night we have a cooking lesson or some kind of cooking experience. We always have Italian lessons on all of our trips. So the educational component is really important. And I was even thinking that the Ye Goodie Shop will have to knock on their door and see if they can do a candy making.
I could help you set that up, and
That would be really cool.
depending on the size of your group, we could take over the side room, and I could do a demo of whatever we're offering for dinner.
That'd be great.
Build that into it. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, listen, this has been really fun. Thank you, everybody. Maybe we'll see you in next week in the Finger Lakes, or in a couple weeks in Hudson Valley, or all the Chapuzzo shows. But this has been really, really enjoyable. Thank you so much. Any final questions from anybody? There's Wayne there. Wayne, I know Wayne's been interested in this trip. Carla, Joan, Monica, and any more questions from you guys about the trip?
I have a question for Luca. Is his father still alive?
Yeah, my dad lives in Queens, New York right now.
I live in Brooklyn.
Do you really? That's so funny.
I'm glad you
yeah,
guys alive. He sounds like a good guy.
Oh, he's a great guy, and he's in much better shape than I am. He loves to bike and ride, and he's a great guy, and I can't wait till he comes up and visits again.
Thank you, Luca, and Lauren. Thanks a lot. This has been cool to listen to.
Yeah, excellent. Well, listen, you guys, stay tuned for this itinerary, because we're going to be having lots of developments. We just got started, and we're stay tuned for variations on this theme on Southern New Hampshire. For now, we have course, but of course we're considering walking and considering all different kinds of variations of this great area. So we're really excited about working together with Luca and his team and my team and to grow this area and to make it much more special than it already is. So we're real excited about it. But yeah, thanks a lot, and have a good night, everybody. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Lauren.
Okay,
Thank you, Luca.
ciao.
Buonanotte.
Buonanotte.
Buonasera.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Ciao.